about Gemara. This is the Gemara for Monday, the few dollars and Aleph. Says the Gemara right. What happens? From all the questions that we asked yesterday in the Gemara or in the previous Gemara, we're going to resolve one of them from a brisa. That is, if you said you'll be a Nazir in 20 days, and then you said you'll be a Nazir for 100 days, do we start straight away now and we break it up in between because it's very similar to Nazirus or not? The brisa clearly says, "Hadei Nazir lachas, you'll be a Nazir in 20 days," and then he said, "Today I start 100 days." Moina esim, you count 20 days. You do count it, but we will break it up. The achikach moina shleishim, you count your 30. The achikach moina shmoinim, you count your 80. Today la hashlim nazirus, you're trying to get another 80 to resume what you started at 20. So it's clearly here that you could break up your Naziris because it's very similar, and therefore you leave enough time after the middle Naziris that you can have your hair grow back normal. Now we have an interesting question. What happens nitma b'mei b'noi? What happens if a person says, what happens, let's say he says, I'll be a Nazir for my son. I have a son, 2 Naziris. So he started his own Naziris, and then his son was born day number 20. So you stopped your Naziris, you jumped out to your son, and sometime during his son's Naziris, you became Tameh. So you have to now then pause 7 days, not again. What effect does it have on the first Naziris? Does it cancel that or not? Is it considered one long Naziris, or is it 2 separate Naziris that are sort of in succession? Rabbi Yechon says,
they're talking when he says,
he said, in this case over here, we're talking about here that she's right here. He said, first he said, how do you know actually Ben? And then he said, and you started your Nazir first, and then became a Ben. So, and you broke it up. So what happens? So Rabbi Yechon says, it's one long Naziris. And Ishlaki says, it's 2 separate Naziris. And therefore, it has no bearing on the other Naziris. And the Gemara continues. It's one long Naziris. And Ishlaki why Naziris the day lechud the brei lechud. His Naziris is one Naziris, the son is another Naziris, and the twain never meet. Okay, what happens? Let's say a person was a Nazir, and in the middle of Naziris, he contracted saras. And while he contracts saras, you stop your Naziris, you don't cancel it further, you stop Naziris, and you pause, and you what do you call it? You have to wait till you become tired and bring your kabbanas for mitzvah and so on. Now what happened was you became tamei during those days of pause. If you became tamei during days of pause, does it cancel the Naziris? Because you pause your Naziris, and now for 7 days you have to wait till you can declare you're no longer mitzvah, then you bring your kabbanas, you take a hit and all that, and you became tamei during those 7 days. What effect does it have? Is it considered part of your Naziris, but this is a law in Naziris, or your Naziris is suspense, it's in the cloud somewhere right now when it's Taras, and therefore has no bearing? Rabbi Yechon says it cancels the Naziris. Ishlaki says ain't says it. Rabbi Yechon says the Naziris kai. This is part of your Naziris. Within the laws of Naziris, there's a din. If you became a mitzvah, then this is what you have to do. But this is all part of Naziris. And it's famous question: Pekuach Nefesh by Shabbos. Is it Shabbos? Shabbos gets pushed away, or Shabbos Gufa says that this is what you're supposed to do on Shabbos when there's a case of Pekuach Nefesh? It's exactly the same chakira here. So in the Naziris says that while you're Nazir, if you come with Saras, this is what you do. So if you became Tamei during that, then it affects the whole Naziris. Because he's still part of Naziris. Or do we say no? We put the Naziris on the side, and this lucky says, you put it on the side. Right now you're a leper, and let's take care of that. Then we'll go back. So if you became Tamei, it has no bearing on that. So the same principle. We need both arguments. There's the first case, I would say that became Tamei during the Naziris of your child. Over there, you cancel shame Naziris. It's all Naziris. It's one long Naziris. But over here, it's Naziris, and here's Mitzvah. Maybe Tzaras is totally different. To say that it's a din in Naziris is more difficult to say. I would think that Naziris is put aside, is brushed aside. Right now we're in Mitzvah, we're focusing on that, and therefore leave it alone. And the Nazir Chutz, that there's 2 separate things. And therefore they shouldn't cancel your Naziris. But over here, I would say, I would say only here Ishlakish says because of 2 separate things, and therefore it doesn't cancel. In the case of Naziris, which was like one long Naziris, just 2 cases of 30 days, doesn't matter what the motivation is, maybe it does. Therefore you need both. What happens if Nikma B'Yem Gidul Sar? He finishes 30 days. Now he's waiting to bring his kabbanas, and then so now what happens like this? It's interesting how the Rishonim say robbers came in on day number 20 and gave you a crew cut. Now you need 30 days to grow your hair. You finish your Nazirus day number 30, but that's only 10 days since your hair started growing back. So you need now to wait 20 days for your hair to grow. So your Nazirus is over, but you still have to wait for your hair to grow. So all you do is wait now for your hair growth. And you became tummy during that period. How do we view the hair growth? It's a chakira we had before, and it explains a lot of machlekes, and that is the dinim of a haircut and kabbonos. Is that part of Nazirus or is that post Nazirus? Do we say Nazirus is completely over when the 30 days are over and you follow everything else? And now there's a separate din, there's a separate mitzvah, bring kabbonos and all that and so on. It's not part of Nazirus. We say no, the Nazirus extends all the way until you bring your kabbonos. And therefore, if Nazirus extends, then you became tamei during the waiting period. Doesn't matter if the 30 days are over, it's still part of Nazirus. But if you say that no, the Nazirus is over, it's just a separate din altogether, then doesn't impact any Nazirus. So what happened here was that, and so what happened here was, Nitma B'Yem Gidul Sar. During those 2-3 weeks, he's waiting for his hair to grow back. He became tamei. Rav Amar Ein L'Soiser. That has no bearing on your Nazirus. Your Nazirus is already over. I feel, and he said, I feel Rabbi Yechon, even Rabbi Yechon says that when you have two concurrent Nazirus, and then they cancel the other one out. Hani Mili Hechon Koyben Nazirus. Then you're in the middle of your Nazirus, so it's one long Nazirus. Or Begidul Sar Mishlam Nazirisu. Now what you're doing is waiting for your hair to grow back. Your Nazirus is over already. Shmuel says no. Shmuel says everyone will hold that in this case over here, Gidul Sar, you cancel. Why? I feel that even Ishlakish, at least over there is two separate Nazirus. Why should one Nazirus have effect on another Nazirus? Here it's still part of the original Nazirus because Ishlakish holds that Nazirus continues until you bring Kabbanas. Dominate says Hasam Shtei Nazirus. Hachachad Nazirus is one Nazirus. Amr Chizah Hakol Moedim. Chizah says everyone is Moedah. Let's say you already came to the base of Mikdash, you already brought your kabbanas, you went ahead and you sprinkled the blood, but you didn't have a chance yet to take your haircut, and then you became tamei. What happens now? You already went ahead and you marked your hair with blood as an expression, which means you already brought all your kabbanas and you sprinkled the blood and everything else, and then before you had a chance to take a haircut, you became tamei. Ain't like takana. When everything was done, only thing you have left is hair. It's called kaddish because your hair is kaddish. So we say that this is called kiddush because there's a kiddush roishay. Anyway, he's no takana. So when he has no takana, I leave it the man who we're following over here. Now, members of Machlekes Tanaim will learn later on if taglach is taking a haircut, can you start drinking wine straight away and going to the base of Kvaris before you take a haircut, or no? That's taglachas is ma'akeves until you can't do anything until you do that. So I'll leave it a man. This question you're asking is according to who? He says that Abelazar came not to glachas makeves. He says that cold man, you didn't take a haircut, you cannot do anything else, nor can you drink wine, nor can you make time yourself, because he said it's still considered part of your Nazirus. So therefore, even though you bought your kabbanas, if you came tummy before you took your haircut, then it's as if you became tummy in the middle of your Nazirus. And therefore, so you start all over again and bring new kabbanas. You bring new kabbanas. What's the problem? And they, what do you mean with takana? There is a takana. You don't like it, but there's a takana. So therefore, we became tamei within your Nazirus period, and we know what the dinamai. The lista, you cancel what you did, and then you start again, and then you bring your kabbanas. So what do you mean ain't like takana? Ain't takana means you're stuck. Why are you stuck? Ella must be according to Rabbanan. Rabbanan who say. By the way, we're going to see later. We'll focus more, not here, but later on. I had the machlekes when Abelazar says that soiser doesn't mean soiser the whole 30 days. It means that you have to wait 7 days till you become Torah and everything else. But as we'll see, we'll discuss that later, so we won't talk about it here. Ella liba the Rabbanan. We're talking. Obviously, must be going according to the Rabbanan who said taglachas le'ma'akve. You can drink wine straight away. And so once you bring your kabbanas, even though you didn't take your haircut, you can drink your wine. You can go to kabbanas. What do you mean takana? Leave the abundance. How many not active at all? So what do you mean takana? What do you mean takana? You can drink wine, you can do everything. You know what it means? The words ain't like takana. Not that you cannot do anything. It means ain't like takana. You missed out on a mitzvah, and there's nothing you can do. You'll take a haircut, but it won't be the mitzvah of mitzvahs giluach. Why? Because you became tamei between the kabbanas and the Rabbi Yechanan said, Nazir shekala yamav. If a Nazir, let's say, completed his day, he counted the time as it is, and now he's day number 31, which is l'chatchila according to everybody. The day you have to bring your kabbanas according to our podis with the rabbanon according to masna. It's the way it should be. Mehatayim l'chatchila is what happens. Nazir shekala yamav. The 30 days are up. Loike al hatumah, and he becomes dame on day 31. If he didn't bring his kabbanas, he will still get malchus, but only for tumah. If he became tameh, but there ain't no like on the other things. Al taglachas v'layla yain. Because if you don't bring your kabbanas, everyone holds you not allowed to drink wine or go basic kabbanas. You bring kabbanas. The machlek is there is about a haircut. Before the haircut, can you, can't you? So for whatever reason, we'll see in a minute that becoming tameh you get malchus, but for the other two you don't get malchus. Even though the forbidden, why are you telling me for tumah you get malchus? Because you're dashing the pasuk. The Amakra says the pasuk, Kol Yimei Hazidei Hashem, all the days that he's a nazir, right? And he shouldn't become tamei. So you're dashing one in all the days. Obviously, the days you're a nazir, one in all. You're trying to tell me that even the day after the 30 days, the 30 Kol's man, you didn't bring your kabbanas, you get malchus. Okay, it's allowed. No, if you can dash in the pasuk from the word kol, we have the same word kol when it comes to wine, and the same word kol when it comes to tumah. So I'm a hiccup. Atiglach becomes a hiccup. Lechayev should be chayev even day number 31 if you did mean to come on. Why? Because the very pasuk says kol yimei neder in Israel, all the days that he's in Israel. Talo yavarosh. It says kol all the days. So according to the word all is adding another day. Kol's mind didn't bring the kabbanas. No, it says talo yavarosh. So you should get malchus for that. Last of the Yomim Shalach gives living legs. According to your drush, you do the same thing here. And the other one regarding drinking wine, there it says the same thing. Kol Yemein Israel, all the days of the Zidus, because of giving yain, everything we get yain, you shouldn't layechel. So according to your drush, last of the Yomim Shalach gives living legs. I don't understand. He said, what's the chilik? Why are you telling me you get a malchus for tumah? You're not going to get malchus for wine, or you're not going to get malchus. What's the difference? So you're right. That's not what we dashing. We're not dashing from Kol. We're dashing from another pasuk. Shani Hoche is different. The Torah says if somebody becomes tamei during his naziris, it says the expression that timei roish nizrei, that the head of the nazir became tamei. What does that mean? Mi shenizrei tolei b'roishei. That means that this din applies. Kol's man, you didn't take care of your head. Kol's man, that you didn't take the haircut and everything else. This din still applies. I'll ask you a question. So it's a big chiddush that for whatever reason, even though it's asa, all three are asa, but when do you get the malchus? Only for tumah. So ask the Gemara. Basically, ask the question. Nazir should call the yamav. It says if a nazir the 30 days are up, asa legaleach, he's not allowed to take a haircut before he brings the kabbanas, or lishtes the ayin, or drink the wine, or the time in the mason before he brings the kabbanas. The im gilach, it says the brayse clearly. If he took a haircut, or shasa yayin, drank wine, or nitmel the mason before the kabbanas, all three of them hareza soifik is abayim. You get malchus, not like a beis chanina. So you know, ebazei Tanya tiyufta, it repudiates a beis chanina. Pause.